status report from Japan. I will run out quickly. So this chart is a very famous one that how the Japanese development and utilization operation of the supercomputers recently government decided. So there are several sources of the research and also the funding and the development. So based on point here. Okay. So basically we started from the white paper for the strategic design design for the HPC in Japan about 3 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago. That is a volunteer-based research and it's supported by the many of the university and the organizations. And after that, the government decided to do the feasibility study towards the exascale system. There are actually 4 contributors, 3 universities, and 3 projects for the architecture design and 1 for the application analysis. And beside of that, also the government agency, JST, supports the one big project named CREST, mainly focusing on the future technology on the system software and something around that. So this is mainly working for the software side, and this is working for the hardware and application side. And there are one big organization named HPC, High Performance Computing Infrastructure Consortium in Japan, who takes a role of the decision of the direction of the supercomputer development. Then the RICAN, AICS. AIC is the home of the K computer, and they made a proposal to the next for the exascale. Next is the Ministry of Education. That is actually the home ministry of the supercomputing in Japan now. And it will be evaluated by the National Council, highest level of the National Council for the Science and Technology, and also Ministry of Finance. Then this chart is briefly show that these time frames. So the quest research for the system software started to year 2011 and finished in 2018. So there are in total 14 projects are selected, and each one has 5.5 years of the duration of the research or something slided like this. And also from the white paper, the government decided to put just $10 million. This is not a big money. It is just for the research for the feasibility. And finally, they launched the R&D of the real system toward 2020 operation. And beside of that, each organization, especially for the national universities, 9 supercomputer center, have their own plan to introduce some petaflop scale supercomputers. So I showed this chart last year, so I will skip it, but based on the basic research about the categorization of the many of the typical applications, and we decided about the 4 types of the architecture is required to cover most of the scientific fields for applications. And based on these analysis, also it is summarized to the 4 types of the architecture requirement, and most of them are covered by the feasibility study. Then this is a feasibility study team, just 1.5 year, very short time, but quick research from the analysis and the perspective research for the future computing system. So there are one project, general purpose based system led by the Yutaka Ishikawa, University of Tokyo, and also the AICS. And the second one is accelerated computing, which is introducing the extreme SIMD architecture led by the Mitsushi Sato of our university. And the third one is the vector processing still, and it's led by the Kobayashi of the leader of the Tokyo University Supercomputer Center. And also the other one was mini applications and application analysis by the Dr. Tomita, who is working mainly for the climate in the AICS, and also the Satoshi Matsuoka, famous guy from Taitech. And these 3 yellow ones are architecture side, and the blue one is on the application side. So after the feasibility study, about the post-OK, maybe most of you are very interested in the post-OK, but before my detailed talk, I said that there is almost no information at this moment. I'm very, very sorry, but there's nothing to tell in detail about the system. So this is just fact. The government decided. So MEX launched a new project toward the exascale supercomputer. It is so-called post-K project. And this April of this year, and targeting the installation of construction in the fiscal year 2018, and targeting the 2020 operation start. And also, it is a very large number, but at this moment, at the launching time, they said about $1.4 billion for the construction, and $1.1 billion from the government, and another 300 million may be covered by the vendors or something. And also, for this year, the first year launching, government put $12 million for the budget. And also, RIKEN AICS, that is a home of the K computer, is selected as a responsible organization for the research and development of the machine. And RIKEN AICS made a proposal based on the result of feasibility study. So there are 3 feasibility study architectures, but the RIKEN AICS selected only 2. That is the SCADA processor and also the SIMD-based accelerator processor. So there is no vector in the proposal from the RIKEN AICS. And there are, of course, the accelerator has caused much of the argument of the discussion based on the application. How many applications can be covered by that accelerator? So discussion is still continued. And at this moment, the architecture, the total architecture is not fixed, at least not shown or published. So I have very few information about the architecture this time. Sorry. So the important design policy of the post-K system is that science roadmap. So science roadmap means that what is the next future or near generation of the roadmap of the very important scientific field, computation. So K computer's goal was different. So K computer's goal is clearly noted as a document that providing 10 petaflops of impact performance to support the general purpose applications. I don't know, actually the impact can support the general purpose application, but anyway, it is noted that the 10 petaflops is a clear objective and also cover almost all the area of the application. That is a K computer. But for the post-K machine, there is some clear science roadmap to cover the coverage of the real post-K toward the exascale is not so wide because of a lot of limitations like power or architecture or memory and interconnection latency and so on. So there, we need to make a very clear goal for what is the coverage of the application. That is science roadmap. And also co-design is essential. According to the science roadmap and the selection of the application field, very rough selection, not just a couple of applications. But they must make some co-design between the system side and the application side for the research and development of the machine. And now the primary target application fields must be carefully selected. And I heard that this time there started the selection of the application fields. It is still not shown, but we are involved with some parts, so that is limited information what I have now. Yeah. Time? But okay. Give me a couple of minutes, sorry. So this is just a chart shown by the government, and this is very simple. Just there is a SCADA processor, several SCADA processors, and showing the accelerator, and the accelerator has a network, and also the general purpose SCADA processor has a general network. That's all. I'm sorry. And I will skip some feasibility study result of the general purpose side, and also maybe accelerator part. So please show that, please see that maybe after the conference we will publish to the attendees. Okay, so finally, I just want notice that from the HPCI. So Japan is now makes several categories of the supercomputer, not just one. So national flagship machine, or some small scale of the flagship machine, or a commodity machine called UCC. That is a cluster maybe, or a technology passport machine. This is a challengeable experiment machine. So finally, this is the last slide. So there are all 9 national universities supercomputer center has some plan to introduce each category of the machine. And especially, I like to, this is my last message. So the University of Tsukuba and the University of Tokyo will introduce next year with about up to 30 petaflops of the many core-based machine as a UCC plus TPL. That might be the Japanese fastest machine next year. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.